throughout this term, throughout our term. The House has carried us through very strong challenges. We also extend our sincere appreciation to you, Right Honorable Speaker Alpha Sumana for your exemplary leadership and unwavering direction. You came after a long tradition of competent speakers. However, none of your forebears were better than Parliament successors. You were the first speaker elected from the party that formed the government, but we were one of the opponents. From the first speaker as a minority leader, a majority leader, and a deputy speaker. Your wisdom, patience, and calmness being an impression of being an anchor of this house, especially during turbulent times. Your ability to manage this parliament with fairness, even in most challenging circumstances, has made you an outstanding statesman. To the members of the NDC Minority Caucus that briefly became the Majority Caucus, I express my profound gratitude for the support and cooperation that I, along with my colleagues in leadership, received from you over the past 2 years. Together, we have achieved numerous milestones, and I'm confident that history will be kind to us for our collective efforts. At the stroke of midnight today, the NDC caucus will re-enter this chamber with a strength of an unprecedented two-thirds majority. Mr. Speaker, this, I believe, serves as a timely reminder to the political class that the people of Ghana reward hard work, dedication, and true love for country. Right Honorable Speaker, this 8th Parliament has indeed been historic in many respects. For the first time under the 4th Republic, we witnessed a Parliament that was evenly spread, with each of the political parties securing 137 members each. We also saw 40 female members of Parliament equally distributed across the political parties. One independent member of Parliament who serves as the second deputy speaker, and a speaker who hails from the opposition. This, in every sense, Mr. Speaker, gave us the first-hand Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Honorable colleagues, let us be proud to be part of this historic Parliament. From the very start, the stage was set for a roller coaster journey, particularly during the election of the Speaker. That fateful night kept the nation on edge, with many fearing for the safety of our democracy. That event, that unfolded, climaxed by the regrettable and unwarranted military invasion of this august house, will remain a blot on Ghana's democratic history. Mr. Speaker, we pray that such a moment is never repeated. Yet, Mr. Speaker, from the dark night emerged a bright dawn. A new parliament under the Speaker, who is not from the ruling party, the first of its kind in Ghana's history. Mr. Speaker, despite facing significant challenges, this House has remained steadfast, navigating many turbulent waters, including certain actions by some members that sought to undermine the independence and authority of Parliament as a co-equal branch of government. Right Honorable Speaker, how many hope that this Parliament would usher in a new era of collaboration for the national good? Some fear that it would deepen political divisions. Nonetheless, I can confidently say that the NDC caucus has consistently upheld the supreme national interest in everything we did. At every turn, we have been guided by one principle: to do what is right for the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, every policy or action or at the government, Mr. Speaker, every policy or action of government that we criticized, we complemented with superior, constructive, and alternative proposals. Although, Mr. Speaker, our views were often ignored, times has proven that many of the positions we took on critical national issues were correct. Right Honorable Speaker, one of the most significant and fiercely debates we witnessed in this Parliament was the protracted struggle over the electronic transfer levy bill, the famous e-levy. The NDC minorities stood firm with the people of Ghana against this unpopular tax, while our colleagues on the other side supported it. Right Honorable Speaker, Despite the strong resistance from within and outside this chamber, the e-levy was foisted on the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, we raised alarms also about multitude of new taxes imposed on the people of Ghana. In fact, over 40 in total, that burdened the people of Ghana and stifled business growth. At the same time, we witnessed proposals that was supposed to grant 450 million US dollars in tax exemptions to crony businesses. In the spirit of patriotism, Mr. Speaker, we demanded justification of this request, especially as Ghanaians continue to suffer from extreme hardship. Right, Honorable Speaker, I believe that posterity will surely vindicate our warnings regarding the reckless borrowings and economic mismanagement under the President Akufo-Addo and Alhaji Bawumia's government. Records available to this House shows clearly that, the Speaker, some individuals in government profited to the tune of 159.3 million US dollars in transaction advisory fees, while the country was saddled with an unsustainable public debt. US dollars, Ghana cedis, in 2022, and a cumulative loss of 71.3 billion Ghana cedis between 2022 and 2023. The Speaker, as a result, the Bank of Ghana became policy insolvent by end of year 2023. Mr. Speaker, the illegal printing of money at the Bank of Ghana to finance government expenditure contributed to the inflationary crisis we saw that resulted in over 850,000 Ghanaians falling into extreme poverty. Mr. Speaker, the management of the central bank also illegally wrote off approximately 48 billion US dollar Ghana cedis of government indebtedness without parliamentary approval in a blatant disregard to the Public Financial Management Act 921. Right, Honorable Speaker, at the height of this crisis, the management of the central bank supervised the award of questionable contracts for the construction of an ultra-modern 250 million head office and another ultra-modern governor's residence at a cost that is unknown to the public. Our concerns, Mr. Speaker, about the mismanagement of the state-owned Ghana Cocoa Board, ECG, GIHOC, STC, PBC, among others, were also ignored. Right, Honorable Speaker, for 7 consecutive years, Ghana Cocoa Board recorded losses of approximately 11 billion Ghana cedis. The cocoa production also declined drastically under the current government from approximately 1 million metric tons a year in production to now almost 400,000 metric tons. For the first time in 32 years, international banks rejected Ghana Cocoa Board request for a syndicated loan to finance the purchase of Ghana Cocoa. Right, Honorable Speaker, we cannot be silent about our opposition to yet another unpopular government policy, the imposition of a regulation called the Import Restriction Regulation 2023. This detested proposed legislative instrument sought to vest unfettered and unchecked powers in the hands of the minister responsible for trade to determine who qualifies to import into the country of certain goods. Similarly, Mr. Speaker, we also raised red flags over dubious finance ministry SML induced 100 million US dollars a year contract for so-called revenue assurance. After initial feet dragging and refusal by the President Akufo-Addo to release the KPMG audit report, it finally emerged that the SML was paid a whopping 1.4 billion Ghana cedis for no work done. Right, Honorable Speaker, the Ghana Revenue Authority further failed to withhold taxes worth 13.38 million Ghana cedis from these payments. As we speak, unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the entity called SML is still raking up the taxpayer for no work done. Right, Honorable Speaker, we on this side expressed several concerns over the government handling of illegal mining menace that involve our nation. We are also on record to have cautioned that its pretentious fight against this existential threat to our collective survival will soon have the dire consequences on us. Amid this facade of the fight, right Honourable Speaker, high-ranking government officials, NPP functionaries were accused by the then cabinet minister, Professor Frimpong Boateng, of promoting and engaging in illegal mining. So, Speaker, Galamsey later became a free-for-all enterprise involving MMDCs and other party functionaries. The reports will bear us out that we on this side call for an honest, responsive approach to this menace, found on strict application to the law. No matter whose us is God. Right, Honourable Speaker, again, our concerns were ignored. The scale of corruption and waste during this period has been staggering, alarming, and heart-wrenching. Mr. Speaker, the more we on this side spoke out, the more corruption and wastage festered. Promoting this as a result prompted the Catholic Bishop Conference to decry and describe the situation as a massive, uncontrolled corruption under this administration. The Speaker, scandals became a daily occurrence as we were treated to blatant abuse of office and plundered public funds. Right, Honourable Speaker, we also saw a misuse of COVID-19 funds. The malfeasance that characterized the 13th African Game, the 500 million Ghana cedis National Service Ghost Names scandal. We saw the brazen attempt to shell out state hotels to a cabinet minister, and free-for-all grabbing of state lands are, Mr. Speaker, but very few that we need to mention. Right, Honourable with partisan elements who undermine due process. Mr. Speaker, journalists who expose voices and were silenced. Right, Honourable Speaker, the silence, the insistence of the Electoral Commission of Ghana to adopt the Ghana card as the sole document of the registration for the registration of voters, even though millions of Ghanaians were yet to be issued their Ghana cards by the National Identification Authority, cannot escape mention. After eventual yielding to the resistance from the gallant NDC Minority Caucus, the Electoral Commission decided to conduct voter registration exercise solely at its district offices instead of the designated polling stations. But for get loud on these matters, the Electoral Commission would have succeeded in denying millions of Ghanaians their right to register and vote. The Electoral Commission was once again forced to beat a retreat on its popular decision to outlaw the use of indelible ink during the 2024 general elections. In all of these instances, our vigilance, insistence, and accountability saved Ghana's democracy. Right, Honourable Speaker, the past 8 years have been tough for all of us, a lesson on how not to govern a country, and in fact, a lesson on how not to run an economy. In the end, the crashing defeat the NPP suffered in the just-ended elections is a clear message from Ghanaians that they will not tolerate any such level of poor governance and mismanagement. Mr. Speaker, it is deeply concerning that those who oversaw such disastrous performance in government would have the audacity to adorn themselves with accolades to the chagrin of the people of Ghana. Right, Honourable Speaker, I was surprised to see some of them being awarded with highest state honours. Right, Honourable Speaker, at the personal level, I have had to pay a heavy price for my stance against the government mismanagement. Mr. Speaker, my recent prosecution, or call it persecution, by the Attorney General over frivolous and trumped-up charges was calculated to silence, intimidate, and completely extinguish the known dissenting voice. Right, Honourable Speaker, my crime, Mr. Speaker, was that I sounded alarm bells on an economy that was being mismanaged and ruined by an act and omissions of a select few in government. The fact that my prosecution began in the wake of the tussle over e-levy should not be lost on anyone, that I became an instant target for the regime. Mr. Speaker, I was charged on the Christmas Eve, a few days after the rejection of the e-levy and the 2022 budget. Right, Honorable Speaker, from that point, the Attorney General and the Minister responsible for Justice, Godfrey Yabu-Adame, in whom the prosecutorial powers of the state is vested, was determined to deploy all crude tactics, including the use of subterfuge, to achieve his ends of malicious prosecution just to satisfy the regime. Mr. Speaker, the whole world witnessed how a supposed Minister of Justice set out to coach, cajole, and coerce another accused person standing trial together with me to falsify his testimony and skew it in such a manner as to enable him to procure a conviction at all costs against Adame, who is the principal legal crimes such as witness tampering, conspiracy against accused person, fabrication of evidence to pervert the course of justice, and professional misconduct, contrary to the ethics of the very legal profession he heads. I believe this has been the story for many Ghanaians during this period. Right, Honorable Speaker, never in the history of our nation have we witnessed this level of gross professional misconduct on the part of no less a person than the Attorney General and the Minister responsible for justice, who is the leader of the bar and bears a high responsibility to adhere to the rules of ethics of the legal profession. Mr. Speaker, I'm not against prosecution of wrongdoing. Whilst our democracy is founded on the rule of law and holding public officers accountable, I pray that never again should any of our citizens become a victim of this level of injustice and abuse of prosecutorial powers that I was subjected to. Right, Honorable Speaker, despite the painful experience, I count it as part of the hazard of politics and service to the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, as the clock strikes midnight, a new chapter begins. To those returning to the 9th Parliament, I say congratulations. Colleagues who will not be part of the 9th Parliament, I urge you to work with your heads high. Right, Honorable Speaker, I beg to say that Ghana appreciates your service and your contributions. Be proud because you have worked for Mother Ghana. I look forward to the 9th Parliament, characterized by mutual cooperation, diligence, and hard work in pursuit of the aspirations of our people. At this juncture, Mr. Speaker, let me thank the gallant 137 members of the NDC caucus on behalf of the NDC leadership. Special thanks goes to Honorable Emmanuel Amakofibua, the Deputy Minority Leader, Honorable Gobbins Kwame Abuja, the Minority Chief Whip, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, the First Deputy Whip, Honorable Comfort Doyo, the Second Deputy Whip, chairpersons and ranking members from the NDC caucus, the Speaker, the backbench of the NDC Minority Caucus. And let me also thank the Honorable Collins Dauda, the one who has contested every single election since 1992, for his hard work and dedication to democracy. The Speaker, colleagues, aside our disagreement, there were moments of cooperation across the aisle. I want to use this opportunity to thank all members of the 8th Parliament. To the parliamentary service, thank you for your hard work. To the parliamentary press corps, what could we have done without you? You have been an amazing group of people that we cannot stop and to thank you. Thank you once again. Fellow countrymen and women, thank you for enduring the worst government in Ghana's history. So, Speaker, I dare say that to fellow Ghanaians, don't be despaired. There is hope. God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation